The golden hues of dusk spread across the peaceful town of Maple Hollow, where stillness often settled in before nightfall. The air was calm, filled only with the rustling of trees and the distant hum of life winding down. 9-year-old Sophie Harlow skipped along the narrow sidewalk, her small arms wrapped tightly around a brown paper bag of groceries. Her mother had sent her to Fletcher's Market just 2 blocks away to pick up some essentials. Despite her age, Sophie had always been known for her independence and responsibility. But today she wasn't alone. Trotting dutifully beside her was Ranger, her steadfast German shepherd. Ranger wasn't just any companion. He was once a decorated K-9 unit with the Northridge Police Department. A shoulder injury during a raid had forced his early retirement. When Sophie's father, Officer Graham Harlow, brought Ranger home, the bond between girl and dog was instant. To Sophie, Ranger wasn't just a pet. He was a guardian, a partner, a best friend. Sophie hummed a quiet tune, lost in thought, unaware that danger had already noticed her. The stillness shattered with the guttural growl of engines. Down Ashwood Avenue, a gang of bikers thundered information. Known locally as the Iron Fangs, they were feared for good reason. Burglary, extortion, and acts of intimidation had become their calling cards. And tonight they were restless. One biker, a wiry man with a deep scar running across his cheek and a permanent sneer etched on his face, pointed toward the sidewalk. "There," he muttered to his crew, eyes narrowing. "Easy pickings." The others followed his gaze and spotted Sophie walking alone, her innocent frame bathed in the amber glow of the setting sun. They exchanged twisted grins. The engines slowed, tires crunching against the gravel as they began to circle her. Sophie froze, gripping the bag tighter against her chest. "Hey there, kid," the scarred man rasped, his voice gritty and threatening. "Where you off to?" Sophie glanced up, heart hammering in her chest. "Home," she managed, her voice a fragile thread. Another biker, tall and broad with a coiled snake tattoo creeping up his neck, leaned closer. "How about a little detour, huh?" he grinned. "We'll give you a ride you'll never forget." Terror clutched Sophie's throat. She took a step back, but Ranger had already sensed it, the tension, the fear, the danger. With practiced ease, he stepped forward, placing himself squarely between Sophie and the gang. His body stiffened, ears up, a warning growl beginning deep in his throat. The bikers laughed. "Oh no," Scar sneered. "The kid's got a tough pup. You really think he's gonna scare us?" The one with the tattoo scoffed. "What's he gonna do? Wag us to death?" Sophie crouched beside Ranger, her fingers curling into his thick fur. "They don't know what you are," she whispered. The bikers stepped closer. One of them reached out toward Sophie, but Ranger exploded into motion. With stunning speed and precision, the German shepherd lunged forward. His jaws clamped down on the biker's arm, dragging him to the ground in a blur of snarls and fury. The man screamed, flailing, as blood splattered against the pavement. Ranger released him and pivoted as another biker charged. With a powerful leap, the dog collided with his chest, knocking the man flat on his back. Panic swept through the gang like wildfire. "Holy hell, that's no ordinary dog," one shouted, stumbling backward. "That's a cop dog," another cried, fear replacing arrogance. Scar, trembling with rage and embarrassment, pulled a knife from his boot. "I'm not afraid of no mutt," he spat, pointing the blade toward Ranger. Sophie gasped, but Ranger didn't flinch. He moved like lightning, sinking his teeth into Scar's wrist with brutal force. The knife clattered to the ground. In a single practiced motion, Ranger spun and knocked Scar flat, pinning him with his full weight. Then sirens. The sharp wail echoed through Maple Hollow as flashing red and blue lights filled the street. Ranger stepped back as the remaining gang members jumped onto their bikes in a frantic attempt to escape. "You called the cops?" one of them screamed, their formation scattering. Patrol cars screeched to a halt around the scene. Armed officers leapt from their vehicles shouting commands. "Freeze! Hands in the air!" Within seconds, the bikers who hadn't escaped were wrestled to the ground and cuffed. Scar was among them, his bleeding wrist bound by a grim-faced officer. The few who fled wouldn't get far, not with descriptions, cameras, and law enforcement hot on their heels. Sophie collapsed to her knees beside Ranger, wrapping her arms around his thick neck. Her body shook with silent sobs. "You saved me," she whispered. Ranger responded with a gentle lick to her cheek, his tail thumping the ground. Officer Graham Harlow sprinted from his cruiser, heart pounding. "Sophie," he called, sweeping her into his arms. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head against his shoulder. Ranger stopped them. "He saved me, Dad." "All of them." One of the responding officers stared at the German shepherd in awe. "That dog's a warrior. Took down 3 guys like they were nothing." Officer Harlow nodded, kneeling to scratch behind Ranger's ears. "He's not just a dog," he said softly. "He's family." That night, the Iron Fangs were finally silenced, their grip over Maple Hollow broken. The townsfolk hailed Ranger as a hero. His photo ran on the front page of the local paper, and kids at school whispered about the legendary dog who protected one of their own. But Ranger didn't care about fame. All that mattered was Sophie. She was his mission, his reason. And on that dangerous night, when courage was tested, Ranger had shown what loyalty truly means. If Ranger's bravery warmed your heart, give this video a big thumbs up. Share your thoughts in the comments. What would you do in Sophie's shoes? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss another heart-stopping animal hero story. Share this with someone who believes dogs truly are our best friends.